Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. And we are on week 2, day 8 of our 90-day Jumpstart to 2026 Aloha Always Challenge. How has everyone been doing through this first week of our challenge? I know that it's been great for me, even though that I've been in the middle of this government shutdown. I guess this has been another, wonderful way to kind of get my mind off of what I've been going through at work. But it is what it is, and taking care of other things, knowing that through this process, I'm getting healthier. My business is getting better. Um, my walk with God is getting stronger. It's all going to be all right. So let's carry on, won't we? Let's carry on through week two. Week two of the Aloha Always Challenge is leadership and love. So last week was affirmations and actions. If you haven't been following me, if you just started following me, welcome. And the Aloha Always Challenge. Aloha comes from aloha. Every time you hear aloha, you think of Hawaii. And aloha is a very big word. It has a lot of meanings. It's not just hello, it's goodbye, it is a way of life, it is respect, it is a lot of things. It is the way that we lived. We grew up with that. People come and they tell me, there was a lady at when I was working. I worked TSA, so I meet and greet a lot of people who come in and out from, we call it the mainland, right? The continental US, and or from across the world, really. And this lady comes in and she's from, I think she said like Chicago or somewhere. And anyway, she goes, okay, I have to tell you this. I thought that, like when people are really nice and, um, okay, let me back up. I was telling this lady because she was pouring out her water into the trash can, right? Because you can't take more than 3.4 ounces of liquid, gels, or anything like that, even like peanut butter through the checkpoint. So she was pouring out her water, and I could hear that there was ice in her um, flask. You can hear it clinking, right? And then she was trying to get the ice out. And then I said, excuse me, ma'am. And I was trying to get her attention. I said, ice is okay to take. You can take your ice. But I guess she couldn't hear me from across the checkpoint, and she kept shaking it and shaking it. And then I was like, oh, shoot. I said, oh, well, I tried. And then so the lady who was standing in the line in front of me, that's when she came out and she goes, okay, I have to tell you this. She goes, oh, you tried. And then she goes, I have to tell you this. When people are really nice and everything like that, and they go out of their way to help people. And I said, yeah. She goes, I only thought that was in the in the movies or on TV, because you watch TV and there's things on Hawaii and people are like that on like the TV shows. I thought that was just on TV. I didn't think that it was real in Hawaii. But when I came here, I was like, oh my gosh, that's for real. People are really like that here in Hawaii. And I just kind of smiled and I said, oh yeah, that's just the aloha way. That's how we are. And then she goes, "That's so crazy," and she goes, "'Cause now I feel like I'm like that." I couldn't help it, but and she goes, "And I'm from Chicago." And and so she's like and I said, "You know what? I just have to tell you this." I said, "Right now, you experience the Aloha Spirit, and right now the Aloha Spirit is with you. And so don't just keep it with you, but take it with you and share it with other people." And that is how the Aloha Spirit spreads throughout the world. I said, I have met people across the country, across the planet when we've traveled. I said, my husband and I travel the world, and we have met people and they just know because the way we talk or just by meeting us, they're like, "Are you from Hawaii?" And we're like, "Oh yeah." And we can be like in Greece or in Egypt and they're like, "Are you from Hawaii?" And when they know that, they're like, they go right back to when they were in Hawaii, right? They go, excuse me, they go right back and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you know when I was," and they tell us about their time in Hawaii, and it's an automatic connection. And I tell them it's because it's the Aloha Spirit. The Aloha Spirit goes with you, it stays with you as long as you can keep it, spread it, share it. And that's the way the Aloha Spirit spreads throughout the world. But let me go back to what we are doing because, like I said, the Aloha Spirit is just the way it is. And I was born and raised here in Hawaii. When I wrote my book, Walking in Aloha, I was stuck. I didn't know how to write a book. I was like, people were telling me to share my testimony. I went through a horrible time of domestic violence, and I knew I needed to share my story. People were telling me that it will help a lot of people. And I was like, Lord, I don't know how to write a book. I've never written a book before. If I need to write this book, then you need to help me. And he said, I gave you everything in Aloha. And I started writing it out. And as I wrote it out of what I went through and how I was brought through that time and healed and was able to walk, in that healing and talk to other people and help people out and share my story and everything, I realized it was through the affirmations and actions that I took, the leadership and love, overcoming. Sorry. Oh, I don't have my water. Anyway, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and the acute awareness. And it spelled out aloha. And I was so thankful. I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. So now I share it, and I share it in different ways, and I share it on different platforms. I have shared aloha in this way across the globe. I've never thought that I was able to take my story all over. My book, it travels the world with or without me, with or without me. Um, my book was brought to Peru, brought to Brazil, shared in London, all over. My brother brought it to Japan. It's amazing. So I don't know how else to explain the fact that God had his hand upon it from the beginning. And now when I share aloha in this challenge, it will walk you through the same thing that I walked through, the ALOHA, the affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. Like I said, last week was the affirmations and actions. So this week, we're going to be sticking with the leadership and love part. And so let's start. This week, leading with grace, walking in love, and molding what faith in action looks like, even when no one is watching. That's one thing that I even told my husband. I said, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or says or does. We are now going to work without pay because of this government shutdown. And it doesn't matter because I do my job the same way. I do everything the same way. I will go to work and wait for my pay the same way. It's because, yeah, I may have a boss, I may have whatever, and I may work for the federal government, but all in all, I serve the one and only King of Kings, and so I am who I am. I will serve the way I serve, regardless, and when no one is watching. So for day eight of the 90, day eight for the 90, lead with love in your words and deeds. That is our focus for today. Lead with love in your word and deeds. The scripture for today is Proverbs 12:18. The words of the wise bring healing. Affirmation is my words and actions are rooted in love and truth. My words and actions are rooted in love and truth. So, for the action step for today, write down 3 affirmations that reflect the kind of leader you want to become and speak them out loud. I go on live every day. I was thinking of trying to do a way that I could automate some of this because within the 90 days, I'll be traveling and I want to come in at 11 o'clock or within the 11 o'clock hour. So if you don't see me on exactly at 11 o'clock, I will be on, pray to God, before like the noon hour. So I want to come in somewhere in the 11 o'clock hour. And if not, if I'm traveling, then I want to be able to automate that um, somehow to come in at that time around 11 or 11 within the 11 o'clock hour. But love leads best when it's practiced daily. And if we can do that, right? If we can within ourselves, in the circle that we live in, at our jobs, at our school, in our homes, if we can just lead with love in everything that we do, despite of whatever anyone is doing around us or the situations that we are in, we just lead with love. Then we can be the examples that people may follow, or we can actually be the light in this dark times. But I am gonna cut out for today because it is actually time for Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, and I am in that also. I'm doing that, and it is long, it's all day. I am not able to stay all day because I have to go to work. And if, like, if anyone knows, you know that it it's hard. It's not like there's a time when, and especially during this time, that I could just take off or anything like that. So it is what it is. And, I I don't there's so many speakers in the world. There's so many different things in the world. And I can say not every single thing that like in one speaker or one person, everything is what I take. Some of it I have to not accept. because of who I am and who I am in Christ. But some of it I don't follow at all. And it is what it is. I do not throw the baby out with the bathwater, to say the least. But I do know that there's a lot of good in a lot of the things that Tony Robbins says and does. So I am in the UPW, and I was in Sage's UHPW, and it's amazing. So yeah, I we were on lunch, so I thought that was perfect timing. But I did come on late because I have so much to do. I jump off of one thing and I go on to another, and I was like, "Oh, bad me, bad me." It was after 11 o'clock. Anyway, this is the power boost for today on day 8 of 90. And forgive me if it doesn't get uploaded to all of the other platforms right away. I try, and I am working on getting a virtual assistant very soon because I cannot do the other part. Like, I can be here for you and I can serve, but the tech part, the uploading part, the other parts, I need someone else to be doing that for me already. And I just don't have the time. I don't have the bandwidth for that. I'm up at my max. So I am working at it. I'm working at so many things to get um, the quality of life that I want to get, and to build up the legacy that I want to leave for my kids and my grandkids. So it is what it is. And um, I was speaking to Robin Dykstra. She's an amazing Christian speaker. And she was saying it's like raising kids, you know, it's hard in the beginning. You have to do the hard things. You have to get up in the middle of the night, or, like, you're not sleeping because baby's awake or whatever. It's a hard time in the beginning when you're raising your kids. And I know I raised my four, and it's hard. But then once they're out of the house and things are different now, right? And now I look at the fact of, what can I leave for them? What can I give to my kids and my grandkids? So right now, I'm birthing something new. I am raising something new. So it's just the same way where it's hard times. I I am up late. I do wake up early, and I do have a hard time, and I do struggle, and I do juggle a lot, and I do feel like a new mom carrying the baby bag and pushing the stroller and juggling so much and all of that. It's the same way. And this morning, um, my husband comes outside because, like I said, this is the garage, and I am trying to do what I can to pay attention to Joseph on Unleash the Power Within. And I am exhausted because we got home, close to midnight. I think it was midnight. And I still had to go make my food for the week. And I still had to, get my training in with uh, my certification training for Lisa Nichols facilitator. And I did all that while I was cooking, and I was so tired. I was asleep right here, right here. on this, see, this is my blankie. I was asleep right here on this lounge chair. And he comes out and he's like, "Hun, you want to go sleep in the room?" And I'm like, "No, I am listening to Unleash the Power Within, and it's on, but it's not on, right?" It's on and not on. Well, it's on, but the camera's on, and I block the camera so that it's on. I can listen, but it doesn't show me laying down, of course. The girl's got her way too, you know. Anyway, I have to do what I gotta do because I juggle so much, but I am able to still be on, to still gain what I got, what I can, and still lay down and rest my body and all of that, right? All of that. I remember when my kids were little and I just needed to rest. I needed to get a little bit of shut eye, and I would just lay back with them, and I would be on the couch and I'd fall asleep with them on my chest because they were asleep, and I dare not put them down because if they get up, I would not get that moment of shut eye, right? That kind of thing. That's what I'm doing right now. So it is the hard time, but I pray to God that He sees my hard work, He sees what I'm doing, and He blesses my efforts and all that I'm doing so that I can build this business, build the courses that I'm working on, and leave a legacy for my kids and my grandkids, and just build the life that Bruce and I can retire on. So, anyway, that is where I am, and I hope that you will stick with me for the rest of this 90 days. We are only 10% in, so let's do this. I know that this will be a great jump start to 2026, and it will be so much better for you. And if you feel that I can help you out, please let me know. Please let me know. I am here. If there's a book just boiling inside of you to get out, please let me know. And if it's too hard for you to write a full book, I have the Voices of Aloha anthologies that's coming out, and you can test the waters by coming in and publishing your story with me and getting your story out there. Okay? So until tomorrow, everyone, God's blessings always, and a hui hou. Bye for now.